I'm going to take this opportunity to update our COVID safe policy for the 19th of July, Monday, in video form, and I will follow up with a document by email later on. This morning we've heard from New South Wales Chief Health Officer and Premier outlining the increased restrictions for movement around Sydney for the coming fortnight. There's also been specific mention this week about asymptomatic transmission, workplace seeding, and healthcare worker infectivity. So, although all of Walker Street Doctors staff are entitled to work on site as essential healthcare workers, and I believe that it's something that we can all do safely, employers are not allowed to mandate that anyone must work on site. And this goes for every single person at Walker Street Doctors. So by category, practice nurse, it's been some time since we've worked without the incredible support of Chelsea, but we could do that with some advanced planning. And Chelsea, you do not have to attend the workplace if you would prefer not to for the coming fortnight. For our practice reception team, we've not yet taken the step of forwarding calls to a mobile phone with receptionists working from home, but we know that it's possible, we could do it, and we will do it. We'll set up remote access for you if there aren't enough receptionists who want to come in. For doctors, although not employees, the same spirit of the law applies to all doctors. Everyone should work at home where possible, and all doctors are well set up with remote access, with eScript, with ePathology, eRadiology capability, at Harbour Radiology at least, to do this. I highly recommend the Tiny Scanner app to scan and email referrals if a receiving provider is not HealthLink enabled. And we can easily organise more remote licenses for this to happen. My specific apologies to Kate for leaving home at lunchtime yesterday without logging out, because I know that act of neglect impacted you significantly, and I'm very sorry about that. We can certainly organise more licenses if we need to. I'd love it if everybody could just take a little bit of time to think about personal preference and to communicate that either via WhatsApp to our group or to me personally would be absolutely fine. We administered about 160 COVID vaccines last week, and really COVID vaccines and specific examination for a symptom should be the only reason that people are coming into the practice. Perhaps also the occasional urgent blood test, Prolia administration, perhaps iron infusion, those reasons are reasonable. There should be a clear reason in the booking notes as to why a person is coming in. I personally think F2F is completely inadequate. I need to know who booked that appointment, and I need to know why that person is coming in, because every single person who comes into our practice has the potential to transmit COVID to everybody in our waiting room and every member of staff. So I really just want everybody to think twice about inviting anybody into the practice in the coming fortnight particularly. Truly, at a bare minimum, skeleton staff could be all doctors and receptionists working from home, and myself only, as the only staff member in the surgery, giving COVID vaccinations to patients in the waiting room. And it's seeing the occasional person, if required, for an examination in a consulting room. Should Walker Street Doctors staff and doctors choose to come on site, the rules that we'll all have to abide by are: the treatment room really has to be closed until further notice. I think the room is just too small and lacks sufficient ventilation to be seeing patients. And if Chelsea chooses to continue to work on site, she'll be able to assist doctors in their own consulting rooms. I think all consulting rooms must have at least one window ajar at all times and the fan on to improve ventilation in the practice. And hopefully in the coming fortnight, construction noises, pedestrian noises, traffic noises outside, hopefully will allow us to have our windows open. The fan should be on in the waiting room at all times, and as always, the door open. Obviously, mask wearing is essential at all times in the surgery for patients and staff. With the mask correctly fitted above nose and covering nose and mouth, and patients often need to be reminded about that politely. We need to all check in with our QR code and check out. And it goes without saying, obviously, nobody is ever to turn up to work with even the most mild of symptoms. Everybody has the responsibility of thoroughly cleaning their workstation before and after their shifts, and no carpooling was reinforced today as well. Obviously, William and I, as household contacts, are an exception to that. Although it isn't mandatory yet, I would love it if everybody could do a self-collected swab on the first and last day of on-site work for the week. I've left Douglas Hanly Moir forms underneath the pink box, and I've left the orange swabs next to the pink box. And just because of asymptomatic transmission, I'd really like to do some surveillance screening. So if you put your swab inside a clear bag, inside a red bag, mark it urgent, Douglas Hanly Moir will generally text the person the result the next day before 7 a.m, so before their next shift. I hope that's really helpful. I'll put it all in a document, but I think we all read so many documents all day, every day. I hope that update has been helpful in some way. Please do. I hope what follows is an open and honest conversation about preferences, but anything is fair game. Thank you, everyone.